Yo, what is up, guys? So I'm here to talk about a recent incident, and I was actually talking about it on my MMA commentary about Neon and basically what he has done. Now, normally I don't focus on all of these streamers all the time, but sometimes they do something in real time that gives us a real life lesson that we could really learn from. But he asked Nate Diaz antagonistic question in behest of his chat, and he had to take the brunt of that. Nate Diaz did not take too kindly to what went down, so they ended up jumping him. Now, is this promotion for the fight? Maybe. There's always that benefit of the doubt, but for the sake of this video, let's just assume that this is 100% real because there's some truth in here. Because after the fact of him getting chased down by a bunch of thugs, basically, his driver was actually talking to him and saying some real things that really should have stuck with not just Neon, but any one of his audience members who is actually there looking for any sort of role model. Because number one, a lot of these streamers, the Zerkas, the Sneakos, the Neons, I am very well aware of their antics. I'm subscribed to Brandon Buckingham currently, and I know his whole thing with Sneeko, and it didn't look like these streamers are really any different from the quote-unquote like big-name YouTubers that they claim to quote-unquote own. Because the thing with like the Neons and the Zerkas and the Andrew Tates and the everything else, a lot of those guys usually come under the monicum of, oh, the system's out to get us, the Matrix is coming for us, the Matrix. We're always going to be in the right because of the Matrix, right? I think it's actually absolutely wrong, and no matter if you believe in the Matrix or not, you still got to take responsibility for how you carry yourself and how you publicize yourself, especially if you want to try getting into this whole like internet sphere, because a lot of the people who watch your content, no matter who you are, don't really know you on a personal level. Now, do not get me wrong, because it is the audience that allows these channels to exist. It's the audience that allows us to do exactly what it is we do here on this website. In fact, to all those who like my videos and who subscribe, I appreciate you guys for helping me make it as far as I've done so far. No matter what my channel ideas are, anybody who adds to any of those channels, you know what? Thank you guys very much. I appreciate you. But at the end of the day, I understand that you are a viewer and you are consuming my content because you find something of value with it. But I shouldn't be asking anybody who I don't know who's on the other end of that screen what I should be doing for an idea of content, because this is the slippery slope that Neon kind of went down. And when you look at how he was in the car after he got chased, I think he was having a epiphany of this is how far it can go. And, you could talk all of this and that and wild stuff on the internet, but once you take it down to the real life status, things can really go down. You don't understand that people don't play around in the real world. Especially recently with like guys like Sneeko and him flipping the dude's hat and then surprised that the guy responded with a punch and acted like he was 100% innocent of the situation, even though that conflict was kind of instigated. Not everybody in the real world is super reasonable or wants to hear out your argument. There comes a time where real life people are just going to say, you know what, enough, and they're just going to start resorting to violent acts. And with the newer generations coming up, the younger generations, young people are super impressionable. That's one thing, especially me as who's younger. I'm not necessarily the youngest I've ever been, but I'm still young compared to a lot of other people. The younger audiences will always be more impressionable and more willing to take on the role model, especially now that we have a lot of kids who are introduced to screens at an earlier age. They're going to see much more impression rates go through. Their minds are very susceptible to be molded by who they see and the adults they see act. It's almost like when you see where kids get their behavior, they always say primarily it's from the parents at home. Now they don't just have parents at home. Some don't have parents at home, but either or they're watching these streamers now and thinking that that kind of behavior is acceptable or that kind of stuff is funny. Because I don't like seeing Neon get put in those situations, but I also don't pity him either because he likes to shake the beehive, and then when the swarm comes, it happens. And I know that there's a lot of grown adults who handle social media responsibly with their businesses and everything like that. They don't do it to post personal info all the time. Not everybody on social media or any sort of these social media platforms handles it like that. But unfortunately, it's the ones who mishandle it and use the sensationalism and the clickbait stuff. Those are the ones that tend to come out on top, and they overshadow the ones who are responsible. Just kind of like when you hear that it's always the louder voices that are more unreasonable that drown out the quieter, more reasonable voices. But I think the kids who watch this stream have yet to understand that. And obviously, I don't expect this video to reach as many audience members as a video like one of N3ON's will. But if you're ever listening to this or you hear this one, I just want to be that voice that said, okay, this kind of behavior, although it's not okay to just resort to trying to jump somebody in the street, you also got to understand to pick your battles and not mess around before you find out. You know what I'm talking about? Take responsibility for your social media. Take a little responsibility for your own PR, and understand that, sometimes shaking up controversy is not always the best way. I know it's a quick way to get media eyeballs on you, but sometimes it's a slippery slope when something like this can happen to anyone. And I think right now N3ON's hearing this, well, not here in this video, but N3ON is realizing this with his with the second half of that video where the driver was talking to him and really trying to talk some sense into him, saying that this audience doesn't really know you and everything like that. So he seemed like the guy that was the reasonable voice in the room. But yeah, sometimes it helps to be a little bit responsible. Now, I'm not saying to tiptoe around everybody, but sometimes taking the responsible route of actually making entertainment value and thought-based value in your content instead of just drumming up a bunch of controversy. Sometimes that's the more long-term gratification of a role versus the reckless and very slippery slope and dangerous sometimes that we're seeing guys like N3ON take it. N3ON, if you're listening to this, I really hope that this was the wake-up call, and I honestly hope you can turn it around and be a better example for your audience. Peace out.